First, we will be talking about the Storm Prediction Center's outlook risk forecasts during severe weather days, starting with general thunderstorm risk, which means there's a potential for thunderstorms that will not reach severe potential. The greatest risk with these thunderstorms are lightning and flooding. During a marginal thunderstorm risk day, it means the likelihood of widespread severe weather is possible, but it is not expected. These storms are mostly isolated in nature and tend to have less of a threat for tornadoes. Slight thunderstorm risk means the likelihood of widespread thunderstorm activity is more likely, but the threat for tornadoes is still low. With this type of thunderstorm risk, wind, hail, and lightning are the main threats that occur. Enhanced thunderstorm risk means the threat for tornadoes is greater, but tornadoes will remain more isolated in nature most of the time. The threat for widespread damaging winds, destructive hail, and frequent cloud to ground lightning are a much greater possibility in the enhanced risk. Moderate thunderstorm risk means widespread thunderstorms and damage will occur. The likelihood of multiple tornadoes is a possibility, as well as long track destructive tornadoes as well. Thunderstorms inside the moderate risk areas will almost certainly have winds in excess of 50 miles per hour, life threatening hail, and frequent cloud to ground lightning. During a high thunderstorm risk day, means you are 99% likely to see severe weather at your location on these days if you are in the high risk area. You can expect widespread damage to trees, homes, and loss of life is sure to occur if safety precautions are not taken. The largest and most deadly tornadoes are often associated with high risk outlook days. On high risk days, tornadoes will be more violent and tend to stay on the ground for several minutes, to the most extreme cases, hours. If you are in the path of these storms, you are recommended to get underground if at all possible, due to the violent nature of these storms. You are not guaranteed to survive just by getting into an interior room of your house. And during high risk days, there are often times that a PDS tornado watch will be issued when there is a higher than normal risk of multiple strong to violent tornadoes, especially those that are predicted to be long track in nature with path lengths of more than 20 miles in the watch area. In addition to including significant wind and hail damage, the enhanced wording in a tornado watch is meant to alert the public of the potential for a very life-threatening severe weather situation. While there are no set criteria for a PDS watch to be issued, they are usually issued when the potential exists for a major tornado outbreak. These types of tornado watches represent about 90% of PDS watches issued by the Storm Prediction Center. PDS tornado watches are often issued on high-risk days for severe weather. And finally, a tornado emergency is an enhanced version of a tornado warning, which is used by the National Weather Service in the United States during imminent, significant tornado occurrences in highly populated areas. Once again, these are the outlook forecasts that are given by the Storm Prediction Center during severe weather days. And now it's time to answer some of your frequently asked questions. First question is, what types of clouds causes the most supercell thunderstorms? The answer is the cumulonimbus. If updrafts become stronger, those seemingly innocuous cumulus clouds may grow taller into what we call cumulonimbus clouds. These are the awe-inspiring and ominous clouds mainly observed during the summer months and can be indicative of a developing thunderstorm. including lightning, hail, heavy rain, and even tornadoes. The strongest thunderstorms can even produce cumulonimbus clouds that tower up to 60,000 feet. What ingredients are needed to produce thunderstorms? For a severe thunderstorm, the ingredients that must be present are moisture, instability, lift, strong speed, and directional storm relative wind shear. How does the Doppler radar work? Doppler radar sends the energy and pulses and listens for any return signal. The phase shift effective is similar to the Doppler shift observed with sound waves. An object moves away from your location, sound waves are stretched, resulting in a lower frequency. What is the EF scale? The Fujita F scale was originally developed by Dr. Tetsuya Theodore Fujita to estimate tornado wind speeds based on the damage left behind by a tornado. An enhanced Fujita EF scale, developed by a forum of nationally renowned meteorologists and wind engineers, makes improvements to the original F scale. The EF scale has replaced the original F scale, which has been used to assign tornado ratings since 1971. And just to quickly go over what the EF scale or the F scale, the old F scale, was, an EF 0 has wind speeds between 40 and 72 miles per hour, with light damage, branches broken off trees, and possible minor roof damage. And EF1, wind speeds between 73 and 112 miles an hour. This would be more moderate damage. Tree snapped, mobile homes pushed off foundations, and roofs can be damaged. An EF2 tornado with wind speeds between 133 and 157 miles per hour. Considerable damage, including mobile homes demolished, trees uprooted, strong built homes unroofed. An EF3 tornado, which includes wind speeds between 158 and 206 miles an hour. This is severe damage. Trains overturned, cars lifted off the ground. Strong built homes have outside walls blown away. An EF4 tornado, which includes wind speeds between 207 and 260 miles an hour, will cause devastating damage. Homes leveled, leaving piles of debris, cars throwing 300 yards or more in the air. And then finishing up with an EF5 tornado, which includes wind speeds of 261 plus miles an hour. Incredible damage. Strongly built homes completely blown away, automobile-sized missiles generated. Our final question was, what are the different types of damaging wind events? First, there is a straight line wind, which is a term used to define any thunderstorm wind that is not associated with rotation and are mainly used to differentiate from tornadic winds. A downdraft is a small scale column of air that rapidly sinks toward the ground. A macro burst is an outward burst of strong winds at or near the surface with horizontal dimensions larger than 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles and occurs when a strong downdraft reaches the surface. To visualize this process, imagine the way water comes out of a faucet and hits the bottom of a sink. The column of water is the downdraft, and the outward spray at the bottom of the sink is the macro burst. Macro burst winds may begin over a smaller area and then spread out over a wider area, sometimes producing damage similar to a tornado. Although usually associated with thunderstorms, macro bursts can occur with showers too weak to produce thunder. A microburst is a small concentrated downburst that produces an outward burst of strong winds at or near the surface. Microbursts are small, less than 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles across, and are short lived, lasting only 5 to 10 minutes, with maximum wind speed sometimes exceeding 100 miles per hour. There are two types of microbursts: wet and dry. A wet microburst is accompanied by heavy precipitation at the surface. Dry microbursts, common in places like high plains and intermountain west, occur with little to no precipitation reaching the ground. A downburst is a general term used broadly to describe macro and microbursts. A downburst is a general term for all localized strong wind events that are caused by a strong downdraft within a thunderstorm, while a microburst simply refers to an especially small downburst that is less than 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles across. A gust front is the leading edge of rain cooled air that clashes with warmer thunderstorm inflow. Gust fronts are characterized by a wind shift, temperature drop, and gusty winds out ahead of a thunderstorm. Sometimes the wind push up air above them, forming a shelf cloud or detached roll cloud. A derecho is a widespread, long-lived windstorm that is associated with a band of rapidly moving showers or thunderstorms. A typical derecho consists of numerous microburst downbursts and downburst clusters. By definition, if the wind damaged swath extends more than 240 miles or about 400 kilometers and includes wind gusts of at least 58 miles per hour or 93 kilometers per hour or greater along most of its length, then this event may be classified as a derecho. And a haboob is a wall of dust that is pushed down along the ground from a thunderstorm downdraft at high speeds. And the final question we were asked: what is thunder snow? Thunder snow, also known as a winter storm or a winter thunderstorm or a thunder snowstorm, is an unusual kind of thunderstorm with snow falling as the primary precipitation instead of rain. It typically falls in regions of strong upward motion within the cold sector of an extra tropical cyclone. Excuse me. And finally, we will wrap this video up with definitions of weather terms you need to know during all significant weather events. A thunderstorm. A thunderstorm is a storm with thunder and lightning, and typically also heavy rain or hail. A supercell thunderstorms are storms usually, but not necessarily thunderstorms that contain updrafts that rotate about a vertical axis. This rotation is derived from a shear in the environmental wind field surrounding the storm as it begins to grow. A mesocyclone, cyclonic air mass associated with a supercell. Its presence is a condition for a tornado warning. A funnel cloud, a rotating funnel-shaped cloud forming the core of a tornado or waterspout. A tornado. Tornado is a mobile, destructive vortex of violently rotating winds having the appearance of a funnel-shaped cloud and advancing beneath a large storm system. A hazardous weather outlook. A hazardous weather outlook will describe potential hazards, weather, and hydrologic information of concern in days 1 through 7. The outlook contains two segments. One segment for the marine zones and adjacent land bases, and the other segment is for the rest of the land-based zones. Each segment of the HWO, Hazardous Weather Outlook, will contain 3 sections: short term through day 1, long term for days 2 through 7, and also spotter information. This is the recording you hear on your NOAA weather radio if you have one during severe weather days. That is your hazardous weather outlook. Winter storm watch. A winter storm watch is issued when there's the potential for significant and hazardous winter weather within 48 hours. It does not mean that significant hazardous winter weather will occur. It only means that it's possible. Significant hazardous winter weather is defined as a combination of 5 or more inches of snow or sleet within a 12-hour period, or 7 or more inches of snow, sleet within a 24-hour period, and or enough ice accumulation to cause damage to trees or power lines, and or a life-threatening or damaging combination of snow and or ice accumulation with the wind. The snow sleet criteria for a winter storm watch for the 5 westernmost counties is higher. A blizzard warning. A blizzard warning means that the following conditions are occurring or expected within the next 12 to 18 hours. Snow and or blowing snow, reducing visibility to 1/4 mile or less for 3 hours or longer, and sustained winds of 35 miles an hour or greater, or frequent gusts over 35 miles an hour or greater. There is no temperature requirement that must be met to achieve blizzard conditions. A winter storm warning. A winter storm warning is issued when a significant combination of hazardous winter weather is occurring or imminent. And once again, the significant hazardous winter weather is defined as 5 inches of snow, sleet within a 12-hour period, or 7 or more inches of snow, sleet within a 24-hour period, and or enough ice accumulation to cause damage to trees or power lines, and or a life-threatening or damaging combination of snow and or ice accumulation with wind. An ice storm warning. For an ice storm warning to occur, there has to be 1/4 inch or more of ice accumulation. A winter weather advisory. A winter weather advisory will be issued for any amount of freezing rain, or when 2 to 4 inches of snow alone, or in combination with sleet and freezing rain, is expected to cause a significant inconvenience, but not serious enough to warrant a warning. If the event is expected to impact the Baltimore, Washington metro areas during rush hours, forecasted snow totals of 1 inch will necessitate the issuance of a winter weather advisory. The snow sleet criteria for a winter weather advisory for the 5 westernmost counties is higher, 3 to 5 inches. A freeze watch. A freeze watch is issued when there's a potential for significant widespread freezing temperatures within the next 24 to 36 hours. A freeze watch is issued in the autumn until the end of growing season. The normal end of growing season is mid to late October west of the Blue Ridge and early November east of the Blue Ridge. A freeze watch is issued in the spring at the start of growing season. A freeze warning is issued when significant, widespread freezing temperatures are expected. Freeze warning is issued in the autumn until the end of growing season. The normal end of growing season is mid to late October west of the Blue Ridge and early November east of the Blue Ridge. However, during anonymously warm autumns, the growing season may extend past the normal growing season. A freeze warning is issued in the spring at the start of growing season. Frost advisory is issued when minimum temperature is forecast to be between 33 to 36 degrees on clear, calm nights during the growing season. A wind chill advisory is issued when wind chills of -5 to -19 are expected east of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and when wind chills are negative 10 to 24 are expected west of the Blue Ridge Mountains and in Frederick and Carroll counties in Maryland. Wind chill warning, which is the same thing, the same criteria as a watch, but it means the conditions are currently occurring. A dense fog advisory is issued when widespread fog is expected to reduce visibilities to 1/4 mile or less over a large area for an extended period of time, for at least 2 hours or more. A high wind watch. A high wind watch is issued when the following conditions are possible: sustained wind of 40 miles per hour or higher for 1 hour or more, or wind gust of 58 miles per hour or higher during any duration. A warning is the same criteria, but it just means the conditions are currently happening. A hurricane watch. A hurricane watch is issued when a tropical cyclone containing 64 knots or 74 miles per hour or higher poses a threat, generally within 48 hours. These winds may be accompanied by storm surge, coastal flooding, and or river flooding. The watch does not mean that hurricane conditions will occur. It only means that these conditions are possible. Hurricane warning. Hurricane warning is issued when sustained winds of 64 knots, 74 miles per hour, or higher are associated with a tropical cyclone that are expected within 36 hours or less. These winds may be accompanied by storm surge, coastal flooding, and or river flooding. Hurricane warning can remain in effect when dangerously high water or a combination of dangerously high water and exceptionally high waves continue, even though the winds may be less than hurricane force. A wind advisory is issued when the following conditions are expected: sustained winds of 31 to 39 miles per hour for an hour or more, and or wind gusts of 46 to 57 miles per hour for any duration. An extreme wind warning is issued for surface winds of 100 knots or 115 miles per hour or greater associated with non-convective downslope derecho not associated with a tornado, or sustained hurricane winds are expected to occur within 1 hour. A small craft advisory are issued for the tidal, Potomac rivers, and Chesapeake Bay when one or both of the following conditions are expected to begin within 38 hours. A sustained wind between 18 to 33 knots or frequent gusts between 18 to 33 knots occur, or waves of 4 feet or higher. A gale warning are issued for the tidal, Potomac River, and Chesapeake Bay when one or more of the following conditions is expected to begin, but within 36 hours and not directly associated with a tropical cyclone. Sustained winds between 34 knots to 47 knots, or frequent gusts of a duration of 2 or more hours between 34 and 47 knots. A storm warning. Storm warnings are issued for the tidal Potomac River and the Chesapeake Bay when one or both of the following conditions is expected to begin within 36 hours and not directly associated with a tropical cyclone. Sustained winds of 48 to 63 knots or frequent gusts over a duration of 2 or more hours between 48 and 63 knots. A hurricane force warning. Hurricane force warnings are issued for the tidal Potomac River and Chesapeake Bay when one or both of the following conditions is expected to begin within 36 hours and not associated with a tropical cyclone. Sustained winds of 64 knots or greater, or frequent gusts over a duration of 2 or more hours of 64 knots or greater. A special marine warning. A warning of potentially hazardous weather conditions of short duration, up to 2 hours, affecting areas included in a CWF that are not adequately covered by existing marine warnings and produce one or more of the following: sustained marine convective winds, showers or thunderstorms, or associated gusts of 34 knots or greater, and or hail 3/4 of an inch or more in diameter, and or a water spout occurs. A severe thunderstorm watch. A severe thunderstorm watch is issued when severe thunderstorms are possible in and near the watch area. It does not mean they will occur. It only means that conditions are favorable. Severe thunderstorms are defined as follows: winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, and hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. A severe thunderstorm warning is issued when severe thunderstorms are occurring or imminent in the warning area. Severe thunderstorms are defined as follows: winds of 58 miles an hour or greater, and or 1 inch hail in diameter or larger. A tornado watch. Tornado watch is issued when severe thunderstorms and tornadoes are possible in and near the watch area. It does not mean that they will occur. It only means they are possible. Severe thunderstorms are defined as below. Once again, winds of 58 miles an hour or higher, and or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. A tornado warning. Tornado warning is issued when a tornado is imminent. When a tornado warning is issued, seek safe shelter immediately. A tropical storm watch. Tropical storm watch is issued when a tropical cyclone containing winds of 34 to 63 knots or 39 to 73 miles an hour or higher poses a possible threat, generally within 48 hours. These winds may be accompanied by the storm surge, coastal flooding, and or river flooding. The watch does not mean a tropical storm conditions will occur. It only means conditions are possible. Tropical storm warning. Tropical storm warning is issued when sustained winds of between 34 to 63 knots or 39 to 73 miles an hour or higher associated with a tropical cyclone are expected in 36 hours or less. These winds may be accompanied by storm surge, coastal flooding, and or river flooding. Coastal flood watch. A coastal flood watch is issued when moderate to major coastal flooding is possible. Such flooding would potentially pose a serious risk to life and property. Coastal flood watches are issued for the coastal areas along the tidal Potomac River and coastal areas along the Chesapeake Bay. Coastal flood warning. Coastal flood warning is issued when moderate to major coastal flooding is occurring or imminent. This flooding will pose a serious risk to life and property. Coastal flood warnings are issued for the coastal areas along the tidal Potomac River and along the areas of the Chesapeake Bay. Coastal flood advisory. Coastal flood advisory is issued when minor or nuisance coastal flooding is occurring or imminent. Coastal flooding advisories are issued for the coastal areas along the tidal Potomac River and the areas along the Chesapeake Bay. A flash flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable for flash flooding. It does not mean that flash flooding will occur, but it is possible. Flash flood warning. A flash flood warning is issued when flash flooding is imminent or occurring. A flood watch. Flood watch is issued when conditions are favorable for flooding. It does not mean flooding will occur, but it is possible. Flood warning is issued when flooding is imminent or occurring. A river flood watch. A river flood watch is issued when river flooding is possible at one or more forecast points along a river. A river flood warning is issued when river flooding is occurring at one or more forecast points along a river. An excessive heat watch. An excessive heat watch is issued when there is a potential for the heat index value to reach or exceed 110 degrees east of the Blue Ridge or 104 degrees west of the Blue Ridge, within the next 24 to 48 hours. Excessive heat warning. An excessive heat warning is issued when the heat value index is expected to reach 110 degrees east of the Blue Ridge or 105 west of the Blue Ridge within the next 12 to 24 hours. An excessive heat warning may be issued for a lower criteria if it is early in the season or during a multi-day heat wave. A heat advisory is issued when the heat index is expected to reach between 105 to 109 degrees east of the Blue Ridge or between 100 and 104 west of the Blue Ridge within the next 12 to 24 hours. A heat advisory may be issued for lower criteria if it is early in the season or during a multi-day heat wave. A fire weather watch. Fire weather watch is issued to alert officials and firefighters of potentially dangerous fire weather conditions within the next 24 to 36 hours. They are issued when the following three criteria are met. Surface relative humidity, less than 30% for Virginia and Maryland. RH less than relative humidity, less than or equal to 25% for West Virginia, and sustained surface wind of 20 miles an hour or greater, or 10-hour fuel moisture less than 8% for Virginia, less than or equal to 8% for Maryland and West Virginia. And a red flag warning is issued to alert officials and firefighters of potentially dangerous fire weather conditions within the next 12 to 24 hours. They are met when the following three criteria are met. Surface relative humidity less than 30% for Virginia and Maryland, relative humidity less than 25%, less than or equal to 25% for West Virginia, and sustained winds of 20 miles per hour or greater, and 10-hour fuel moisture less than 8% for Virginia, less than or equal to 8% for Maryland and West Virginia. These are all of our weather definitions and every watch and warning that the National Weather Service will issue during any type of winter weather, severe weather, hurricanes, or flooding. If you liked our content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Follow us on all forms of social media. You can find us on Facebook at Ohio Weather Specialist, at Instagram on Ohio Weather Specialist, and Twitter at OWS 2019. Thank you so much for tuning into our video. Once again, my name is Matthew Jacobs. Have a great day, and thank you for tuning in.